On the compact RT family, we have a 32-foot model as well as 6832. But again, we're here today to talk about the 6826. Keeping in line with the design philosophies of our scissors and all of our other products, which include booms and telehandlers, serviceability and access to components is one of the top things that we try to achieve. Here we're looking at the tank side. We have a swing open, or what we call a gull wing style door. This isn't a Mercedes. It doesn't cost as much as a Mercedes, but it has that cool little feature, which is always good for the marketing point of view. So we have our all steel hydraulic and fuel tank here. This is a dual fuel machine. So this is a gasoline tank. This is where you would find the diesel tank on the diesel model, which is an option. And as you can tell, we have a propane cylinder as well. On this side, we also have the hydraulics. And on machines this small, it gets really hard to try and make sure that everything's serviceable. So we came up with a nifty little way to make sure that you could actually get a wrench on all of the valves, anything that you need. We have a tilt-out hydraulic manifold. You have, of course, access to your Donaldson off-the-shelf hydraulic filter there as well, with room to get a bucket underneath. Little things like this are what make it easy for the mechanics, the service guys, to a little bit more enjoyable. It also makes it quicker for them to service the machines. You'll notice on these, the hydraulic manifold and on the valves especially, we've got different colored wires. Since 1985, on all of our machines, doesn't matter whether it's a scissor or boom, anything that we've made, we use a standard color-coded number wiring system. What this does is basically replaces the need for electrical schematics. Once you become familiar with what wire does what function, it's the same on this RT scissor as it is on our 3219. So your 13 and 14 are always going to be your lift and lower. So you can very quickly find out which valve is your lift and lower. You can find out which relay is your lift and lower. And I say relay because that's important too. We have a full hardwired system which is based completely on analog relay type control. There are no computers in this machine. We don't need to overcomplicate things. Computers would make it a little bit easier for us to manufacture, save a little bit of money, but in the end we can do everything and achieve everything with all these on-off switches, which we call the relays. All steel construction cabinets. Going to stand up a little bit better to the job site environments that you see, and you also see on the side of the machine we have forklift pockets. This machine is actually the lightest in the class of all the compact 26-foot RT scissors, weighing in at 6,400 pounds. So that doesn't give you a whole lot of benefit compared to some of the others, but you know, if you do have a weight-sensitive type job site, then you know, certainly this is something that would come in handy. Taking a look at the back side of the machine, we have forklift pockets here too to run through. And I want to take a second just to point out the scissor stack. Scissor stack design on Skyjacks, you'll notice, is a little unique compared to what's in the industry these days, but we use a sealed tube. Water, anything that might cause corrosion outside of the inside of the scissor stack. We do have the pins and the bushings that go through there. You want that to be maintained over the life of the scissor. One of the other things this does though too is it allows us to use a scissor end, which is a clevis shape, symmetrically loads the scissor end onto each other. So basically what that means there is we don't have a cantilevered load. What that provides is a little bit more, I don't want to say stability. It certainly does help in that respect too, and probably one of the reasons why we're one of the lighter machines or the lightest machine in the class. But what it really helps is with operator comfort. So you get a much more rigid feeling platform. You don't get that sway or pin slop that you can sometimes find on machines. And you know, obviously having as many pins as a scissor stack does, that's certainly something that we've tried to fine tune. You'll notice again, all steel construction. We have two lift cylinders on these machines. Lift cylinders are trunnion mounted. You could actually just unbolt the top of the cylinder and just rest it down, of course using your maintenance safety bar to properly support the scissor assembly. But this allows you to repack the cylinder without actually pulling it out of the machine. If you need to pull it out, it's also easy to do that too. So no sledgehammers, don't need to drive the pins out. So again, serviceability, saving time during those moments when you actually do need to do some service to the machines. The Skyjack comes all of our scissors and booms come with a standard 2-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, 5-year on structure. Again, a little bit unique in the industry. Standards typically 1-year bumper-to-bumper. You know, we've been saying for years and years and years that our scissors are reliable and easy to service. And eventually we got asked to put our money where our mouth is. So we ended up doing that several years ago, came out with the industry's first 2-year warranty. I believe it's available on some other manufacturers' products now too. So hopefully we're setting the trend there in reliability and support. Mitch, you want to come down and just spin around so we can see the other side? This machine is equipped with the optional outriggers. The outriggers don't actually increase the width of the machine, so we're still sitting at 68 inches wide. That's the smallest, narrowest machine in the class, not by much, but again, for a compact RT where you're looking at you know, maneuverability, this is one of the more maneuverable machines in the class. Tight turning radius is only 13 feet, and he doesn't even have a fully crank, so he's going to embarrass me with a little 2 or 3 point turn right now. You'll notice while he's pulling around, we've got an all steel ladder at the back. That's a bolt-on ladder. We could have welded it on. That would be a little bit easier, save us a little bit of money on the a few cents, a few pennies anyways on in manufacturing on cost. But we make that bolt-on because that is a part that gets banged up a little bit. It's easy to replace when it's bolt-on. We do sell a lot of those through parts. I'm not sure how people damage them, but they do get damaged. This machine's equipped with the optional air-filled tires. Standard would be foam in this low-profile tire, but the air-filled tire, especially in places like Florida where you have a lot of job sites with the sugar sand, very hard to, or very easy, I should say, to get your equipment stuck and buried. This tire will actually act like a flotation tire, even though it has a fairly aggressive grip. It performs like a flotation tire when it's air-filled compared to being foam-filled. You can get that in a non-marking as well, and we do have a solid rubber non-marking tire available. Again, all steel. Hey, wait, you did a full 360 there. I wanted to show you the engine side, so we'll just keep talking about the machine for a minute while he does that. Mitch, you could actually stay down. See this time? How come no one caught that? You guys are all watching, just laughing. It's great. This is the view we want. Keeping with the theme of reliability and Skyjack's robust design, again, everything all steel, including the platform, no aluminum, no plastic. We use a checker plate standard, which you can't really see from sitting in the chairs there, but it's just a standard checker plate steel, so the grip will be there no matter what. We don't have grip tape that needs to be replaced. They're maintained. You want to slide the deck out. 5-foot rollout is standard. Increases the deck size of the machine substantially, sitting at about 108 inches, and then you add another 60 inches to that for your extended. You can see these notches in the platform and the easy-to-use handles. You can actually position and lock the platform at any one of these locations. So if you don't quite need to go out all the way, you want to drive around the job site a little bit and try not to knock people's heads off, that's a little bit easier approach to take. One of the other things you'll notice, Mitch isn't wearing a harness, and harnesses aren't required on scissors, but some job sites do require them. One of the things we always say on a scissor lift, you want to have fall prevention as opposed to you know, protection of keeping you from hitting the ground. We actually want to make sure you don't leave the platform at all. On a scissor, it's a little different than a boom. Boom, you've got a risk of being ejected. On a scissor, you just want to stay in the platform, period, because if you end up throwing any side force out, scissors just aren't designed to necessarily handle that. So one of the things that we make sure is, even with the deck out, we always have lanyard attachment points, and there's 6 of them on this machine. So with the deck out, we have 2 at the rear, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the front. Again, you can't see them, but they're right here, and you can basically, what that allows the operator to do is use a short harness, short lanyard, and he can click along and move along and still maintain a proper lanyard length, so he's in the platform, but he has the ability to work from anywhere in there. All steel construction, the railings, steel and bolted in, they are foldable. So So you can fold those completely down, and they hinge right near the bottom, so we're looking at an extremely low stowed height. Which brings me to another feature of this machine, is the stowed platform height in general. So you can see how comfortable it is for me right now to be throwing boxes of mud, stucco, whatever it is that I might be working on. I can just put it in here. I don't have to reach up and in. And a few inches here does make a big difference. So we went to the market and asked what can we do to make this type of machine better. That was one of the things that our customers told us, said get that deck height as low as possible. So we're sitting here now at about 47 inches, I believe, on the actual deck height when it's stowed. So very small, compact machine. Now that we've got the engine side here, I can flip this open and show you again serviceability and access. We're using a Kubota dual fuel engine. This is a 972. This is actually 31 horsepower. This is powering 2 Haldex gear pump motors for drive and per system. As you can see, it's a swing out engine tray, swings out 90 degrees, full access to whatever I need to do here. Nothing is buried. I have the battery right here, and then an electrical cabinet that you can open up. We have our mess of wires, color-coded, numbered with our relay system. A little bit more intimidating than a computer, but extremely easy to service, and all you need is a voltmeter as opposed to an analyzer or anything like that. This is a 4-wheel drive machine, and one of the things that we always have an issue with in any hydraulic drive system, we're using 4 hydraulic wheel motors on this, you always worry about loss of traction. When a hydraulic wheel motor starts to slip, it will actually rob power or rob flow from other wheel motors. So you use things like flow dividers to try and combat that, which work like a differential would on an axle-based system. But that doesn't always help. In muddy terrain, just having a simple flow divider can still sometimes leave you with a complete axle dead. So one thing that we do is we do a cross-symmetrical 4-wheel drive system. So we're hooking up our front back to the opposite the rear back to the opposite front tire on that flow divider system. And we're actually using a gear flow divider as opposed to just a normal flow divider. So that gear flow divider, when one wheel motor starts to lose grip, your other wheel motor back here is going to get robbed a little bit of power. You're actually going to send through that gear flow divider all power to the remaining 2 wheels that have traction. Because these machines don't have suspension like a car, and you don't necessarily want to be 26 feet up in the air and bouncing around on a nice comfortable ride, it is a stiff chassis. And one thing that happens is when one wheel starts to go, you'll notice that the back opposite wheel is going to teeter. And when it's teetering, that means that you're actually lined up with all your weight on the 2 tires that would now have the traction from our gear flow divider. So interesting spin to put on the drive system for a hydraulic drive RT machine. As far as options go, we do have a number of options, including a generator, 2,000 watt generator, hydraulic generator you can add it to this. For the diesel engine, if you had a diesel powered machine, you could get a scrubber. We do have the tire options that I mentioned before, and of course the aerators that you see on the machine as well. Flashing light and a few other small productivity related options as well. So 2-year warranty, reliability, easy to service, robust components that won't require replacing, help keep the cost of ownership as low as we possibly can for the rental company.